What's up, guys? Mickle here, and Brad Garlinghouse is slowly becoming one of the best CEOs in the entire world. In this video, I want to go over a clip that Brad Garlinghouse just put on Twitter because this thing was absolutely phenomenal, and if you haven't seen it, you need to watch this entire thing. Brad Garlinghouse lays out exactly why the SEC went after Ripple and how absurd this entire case has been. Guys, even if you have already seen this video, I highly suggest you watch it again because I have already picked up on so many new things watching this thing through. It is absolutely incredible. I also want to give you an update on two other cases towards the end of this video and show you a leaked clip by Ripple showing how big their CBDC program is getting. I think what you're going to hear from this Ripple executive is going to shock you and let you know there is so much in the works we have not even seen yet. Make sure to stick around for that. You are not going to want to miss it. Like always, your support means so much to this channel. Make sure to take a quick second to like this video and subscribe to my channel. It's really going to help me out so much. Also, if you ever need a good place to buy some XRP or the Flare token, make sure to check out my favorite exchange, Uphold, down in the description of this video. With that said, though, let's jump right into it, and I hope you guys enjoy the content. So I want to start this video out with a clip put out by Brad Garlinghouse because, like I said in the intro, this thing was absolutely phenomenal, and I really do think Brad Garlinghouse is slowly becoming one of the best CEOs in the entire world. Ripple is so lucky to have this guy there. He is smart, he is a great leader, he is so well spoken, and honestly, he is the perfect person to be running a company like Ripple. I think it's so funny that so many different people in crypto take shots at this guy. He is going to end up being the most important person in crypto by far, and I cannot wait to see what he accomplishes over the next 20-30 years. Listen up to this clip right here. It is going to blow your mind.
Hi, I'm Brad Garlinghouse. As many of you know, I don't often make videos like this, but then again, not every week has been like this one. A few days ago, after 2 years, 7 court orders, and over $100 million in legal bills, the Hinman speech documents, including internal SEC emails and comments leading up to this now infamous 2018 speech, they've finally been unsealed. Hinman's speech created new factors to determine if a token becomes sufficiently decentralized to no longer be considered a security. At best, these documents show that senior officials at the SEC couldn't agree on the law and told Bill Hinman directly he would confuse the public even more about the rules for crypto. At worst, they show that Hinman deliberately ignored the law, and he tried to create new laws, something only Congress can do. And while he was a public servant, Hinman received millions of dollars of payments from his law firm, which was part of an alliance with others that had a vested interest in this speech. This speech isn't about any one token or any one blockchain. This is about showing the extent to which the SEC has relentlessly pursued enforcement actions against crypto players while professing fake open arms and calls to come in and register, all the while lying about their so-called guidance. As some of you may know, Ripple spent years proactively engaging with the SEC. I personally met with Jay Clayton and Bill Hinman, with no lawyer present. Why would I need a lawyer if we were all coming together in good faith? We answered every question they had, and not once did they suggest to me that XRP was a security. We were fully transparent, not knowing they would then use this information against us. The SEC hit us with a surprise Wells notice saying they were considering suing us for breaking securities laws and still refused to provide specifics. To those that have recently been hit with their own Wells notices and lawsuits, this likely sounds all too familiar. When the lawsuit did drop against us, days before Christmas, a very Grinch-like touch, they made it personal. They sued Chris Larson and they sued myself, alleging we should have known all along that XRP was a security. You can now see plain as day, they couldn't even agree amongst themselves. And to me, it still seems like they can't. What we saw play out in our case is exactly what's still happening. The SEC is looking to kill crypto innovation in the United States, and its current chair, an unelected bureaucrat I might add, is weaponizing the lack of regulatory clarity to exert jurisdiction over the entire crypto space. This is the definition of putting politics over people. It's the pursuit of power over sound policy. The SEC tried to bully us into acquiescing. Thankfully, we have had the resources to fight back. And now we can all see what they've fought so hard to hide. They knowingly created confusion about the rules, and they used that confusion to regulate through enforcement. That's bad faith, plain and simple. Ultimately, as our lawsuit comes to a close, for so many others, it's just starting. The fight for clarity has to continue. I'm just going to conclude by saying to my colleagues here at Ripple, to my family, my friends, everyone who has supported us over the past 2.5 years, and certainly to the whole of the XRP Army, a very heartfelt and a very genuine thank you for that support.
So like I said, just absolutely incredible by Brad Garlinghouse. I think two of the most important things that really stuck out to me was the fact that once again, he reiterates that he was going to the SEC in good faith. He was going to the SEC to figure out how Ripple could work compliantly in the United States. And they turned around without even ever mentioning to him once that XRP was a security. They turned around and slapped this lawsuit on Ripple, but not only on Ripple, but against him and Chris Larsen. This is absolutely disgraceful behavior by the SEC, and the way Brad Garlinghouse breaks it down right here just makes it more clear than ever. Ripple is a good company. Ripple is on the right side of the law. The SEC is a tyrannical government agency that is trying to kill innovation in the United States. I also think another really cool thing he did there was give the XRP community a shout out at the end. Guys, one of the things I really appreciate from Brad Garlinghouse and Ripple is they have made sure we know as the XRP community that they appreciate us sticking by their side and us honestly digging up a lot of evidence for them to use in their case. I just think it's really cool that Brad Garlinghouse, someone of his stature, will reach down and actually compliment all of us and tell us that he really appreciates everything we are doing. I just think it's really cool, and once again just speaks to how great of a CEO Brad Garlinghouse is. And in my opinion, Brad Garlinghouse will be one of the top CEOs in the entire world in the next 5 to 10 years. So before we jump into the Ripple CBDC news, I quickly want to update you on some other cases. So it looks like the SEC just took a pretty big loss in their Binance case. The SEC tried to get a court order saying that Binance essentially had to shut down their business immediately because they were operating an illegal exchange. The court pretty much threw that out the window. They did not buy it at all. Now, I was on a lot of Twitter spaces with people who were experts who were saying, oh, the SEC is definitely going to win on this order. I was saying there is no way the SEC wins on this order. It is way too broad. The SEC can't go outside the United States, and they haven't even offered any proof that any of these customer assets are in trouble. Well, like I said, the SEC was completely shut down on this order, and now essentially the SEC and Binance are just going to work together to make sure US customer assets are safe. You know, the completely logical thing that any single government agency should be doing, not the SEC trying to shut down the business because it's crypto. Anyway, I thought this was a pretty big win, and Meta Law Man agreed with me. He said it's also important to know that this does in fact mean that this judge is not just going to rubber stamp anything the SEC says. This judge is going to make sure there's actual proof to what the SEC is alleging, and I think that's a really big win because like we saw in the library case, you could have a case determined simply by the judge you get. If your judge does not understand cryptocurrency, if your judge is an SEC shill or a government shill and he's just going to agree with anything they say, you're going to be in big trouble. I think this really does show that judges around the world are starting to understand that the SEC is really overstepping its boundaries when it comes to cryptocurrencies, and the fact that Binance got this win is a very good start to this case. So I want to finish this video off and talk about Ripple's CBDC initiative because, guys, I think this clip that I'm about to show you is really going to make you understand that Ripple has some massive things going on behind the scenes. And I've been saying for a while on this channel, Ripple probably has 3 to 4 years worth of massive news that they have not released because essentially they have been being suppressed by the SEC. What I mean by that is one of the SEC's main allegations in their case is that XRP is a security because when Ripple makes a big announcement, the price of XRP moves. Well, common sense would tell you that Ripple likely had to be very careful with what they were announcing over the past 2 to 3 years because they didn't want to announce anything that might support the SEC's case. So obviously, Ripple has had to be very quiet with their announcements. And on the other side of that same issue, a lot of companies working with Ripple don't want to cross paths with the SEC. Elon Musk specifically said in an interview one time, the second he got sued by the SEC and the second Tesla got sued, all the banks he was working with instantly told him, you need to settle this case immediately or we're going to stop funding Tesla. The SEC carries some serious weight when it comes to scaring these companies out of deals, and I have a feeling a lot of the companies working with Ripple likely went to them and said, okay, just please don't say anything, or at least don't say anything until this case is over. I want to show you a clip that's going to let you know there are a lot more confidential CBDC projects going on at Ripple right now than they lead you on to believe. Listen up to this.
The technology is based on the public XRP ledger, which has been in production for the last decade. So it's a very robust core technology with a great track record. And it's currently in deployment globally with different countries, firms, and so forth. A lot of our work is, as I'm sure you'd appreciate, is confidential, but some of the projects we're doing are in the public realm. One of which is particularly applicable to today's topic, and that is our work in Palau. Palau is issuing a national stablecoin on the public XRP ledger. Going back to your initial questions, Alchan, there are certainly themes that we see with stablecoins and challenges to adoption with all crypto. User experience is definitely one of them. There are preferred payment methods, and it varies. They vary by market. So in developed countries, you might have credit cards, and in developing economies, you might have remote mobile payments. The preferred payment method is the competition. That is, any new technology that you're going to introduce has to be as good as or better than the current market preference. And if it's not going to be adopted. One of my colleagues uses an anecdote that he says, if my grandmother can't go to the corner store and buy her groceries with it, then it's too complex. And that's one of the reasons cash has been so popular and effective. It's very straightforward. Everybody can understand it. It's easy to use. And there are a lot of elements in cash that people value, like privacy and finality. And these things need to be as simple and understandable and functional as that standard. If you look around at some of the offerings in the market, I would suggest we still have a ways to go. But looking at how far we've come and hearing from the other panelists today, I'm enormously bullish on the trend line of where we're heading. Thank you.